Taxing tourists. Would you pay a $250 a day tariff to visit a country? This week we're in Bhutan, where they've been taxing tourists for over 30 years. We'll be finding out what you get for your money. We head to Latvia, where oligarchs, celebrities and thousands of fans have gathered to watch some of the biggest stars of Russian language pop. And we'll be saddling up to tackle the wilds of northern Iceland on horseback.
We can't talk too loudly here because we're trying not to scare the horses. The people here say you won't see scenes like this anywhere in the world.
Welcome to Fast Track, 30 minutes of travel news, escape and adventure with me, Fiona Foster. Now first today we're going to look at the charges and tariffs that every traveller dreads. You know what it's like, you scan your hotel bill at the end of your stay and there it is, the hotel tax. Well, a lot of countries and cities have come up with ways of making the tourist pay just that little bit extra. But what about having to guarantee you're going to spend a certain amount a day? Carmen Roberts has been to Bhutan, where you have to say you're going to spend $250 a day at least if you're going to go there.
Like the clouds that cling to its mountains, Bhutan is a country that's shrouded in mystery for many travellers. The first organised tours came here less than 40 years ago, and ever since, this pristine Buddhist enclave has been slowly opening its doors with the utmost of care. Tourism is far from discouraged, but the government here has taken a considered approach, charging visitors a tariff of up to $250 a day. It's a package fee, if you like, because independent travel here is forbidden.
Well, it doesn't come as a separate thing, it comes as a package. So in the package, it's an all-found package. Basically, you get all your meals, you get all your, you get your transport covered, your non-alcoholic beverages, the guide services and accommodations. So it's when you look at it from that point of view, $250 per night is not a huge amount of money.
That's enough money to put off the majority of tourists and make backpacking strictly off limits here, meaning that tax isn't only a revenue raiser, but it also has the effect of protecting Bhutan's landscape and culture from hordes of holidaymakers looking for a cheap deal.
So this is the main bus station in the capital, Thimphu. Now in any other major Asian city, this place would be teeming with backpackers, but not here. And all the locals that I've spoken to are pretty happy about that.
There's so many, natural elements or drugs that can be very easily available. So that can be something that they can introduce to the youth, something like, and then more or less, and having the freedom of traveling themselves, I think puts me so much in a worry that we don't know exactly what is going to happen, what they are up to. So for that reason, I think it is in good philosophy to have all packaged and guided tour in a country.
Good morning. Kuzuzangpola, is that right?
Yes, Kuzuzangpola.
Kuzuzangpola.
The claim is that thanks to the tax, you get a much more personalised experience with dedicated guides and a personally tailored itinerary, with plenty of time available for more spontaneous stops along the way. Archery is a popular sport here, so we stopped off to watch a tournament in the capital, Thimphu.
We put the arrow from the...
And when I showed an interest, my guide Ugyen offered to teach me the basics when we arrived at the hotel in Paro.
Okay,
Aim.
it's a long way away.
Yeah, aim and listen.
Yeah! It's generally accepted by travellers that they have to pay this tourism tariff because it's been in place here in Bhutan for many years. But it's no surprise that other countries who are only now just introducing these taxes and tariffs are being met with some resistance.
Back in 2010, there was a lot of confusion when the United States introduced a $14 fee for visitors as part of the Electronic System for Travel Authorization, or ESTA. In the Italian city of Venice, a swathe of taxes could cost you an extra €100 per person, depending on your mode of transport, location, and the season. Many countries use visa fees as a way of taxing tourists, and travellers to the UK are now hit with an increased air passenger duty, adding up to $300 to the price of a flight there, all money which goes straight into the coffers of the British government, despite protests by the airlines and the travel industry that this is nothing more than a stealth tax to milk the UK's reputation as a must-see travel destination. Here in Bhutan, there's nothing hidden about the tax, leading many to say that their approach is more honest and transparent. The $250 a day tariff is for the peak months from March, April, May, September, October and November. And on the off-peak months, it's only $200 a day.
The rates are very feasible because in the rates that we provide is that a very personalized service, providing them with a personal private guide and a driver who can explain the actual history and the traditions that we have. Maybe they can take around to the local places and then they can talk more, because if they are coming on their own then they won't be knowing what is the history behind this, because there are certain, even in a simple house, there are certain paintings that they have a kind of a background why those paintings are there, and then if they are coming on their own they won't be knowing the actual story of it. Like every monastery over here has a story behind them.
Last year, only 105,000 tourists visited Bhutan, compared to the record-breaking 22 million who visited Thailand and 6.5 million in India. If both countries were to introduce a visitor tax in line with Bhutan, it would no doubt have dire consequences for their tourist industries. So, can Bhutan only get away with this tax because its tourist industry is small by design, with limited desire for growth?
Of course, it's much lesser numbers as compared to Kerala or India, any part of India. And I would say that's a good approach, because the backstay of tourism, that is the hotels, the roads, the infrastructure, all this has to improve with the numbers. So it's a balanced approach. Whilst there has been an increase in the number of tourists, it's been proportionate to the number of hotels and the infrastructure that has come up. So that's, I would say, it is a very balanced approach.
We thought of going to Nepal or Tibet, but yeah, we wanted something just a little more exclusive and private and quiet, relaxing. You know, we've been to other really touristy places, but this, you know, even similar to Myanmar, just slowly opening up, and they're taking things slowly, and I think that's the way they should do it.
It's this high-income, low-yield approach that's giving one of the world's poorest nations an exclusive image, where the latest must-have accessory is a private jet. The national carrier Druk Air has just signed a deal with Chapman Freeborn, a deal that speaks volumes about Bhutan's tourism approach.
The country is, very small, reasonably inaccessible, but that's one of the things that makes it so beautiful and so unspoiled. So having an extra transport link in to the country, I think, will make a significant difference. And they don't have an enormous hotel capacity, so therefore it drives you to want high net wealth with high revenues, and also to keep the place unspoiled. It doesn't want to become a backpacker destination.
The private jet company is also linked up with high-end properties to offer week-long luxury Himalayan escapes, no doubt to customers who think nothing of paying $250 a day in tourist tax. For the rest of us, that tax alone will probably mean the difference between deciding whether or not to holiday in Bhutan, meaning that most of us will probably stay away. But maybe with stunning scenery like this, that's just how the Bhutanese like it.
Carmen Roberts reporting. So, are taxes and levies putting you off visiting a destination? We'd love to hear from you. You can email us at our usual address, fasttrack@bbc.com, and we're also on social media, Facebook, Twitter and Pinterest. And that's what many of you did following our recent report on whether overweight people should have to pay for an extra seat when flying.
When I was flying with Southwest Airlines, they told me I was too fat to get on the airplane without buying an extra ticket. And they told me in front of a gate full of people. They asked my clothing size.
Kevin Garrett emailed us to say,
Tall people like myself who are over 6 foot and prefer to have an exit aisle seat often have to pay more for the privilege. Tall people cannot have any effect on their height, unlike obese people. The practice of charging for an exit seat is discriminatory against people who want the extra legroom.
Kevin there, just one of the frustrated taller travellers that wrote in to say they think it's unfair they have to pay for extra space. Mike Ritchie Cox thinks the answer is simple.
I think this has to be a logical commercial evolution. Air passengers are jokingly known as self-loading cargo, and the fastest growing cost for the airline is fuel. The more you and your bags weigh, the more fuel you'll consume. It's natural, is it not? The most sensible solution would be to charge at least by the total weight of the passenger and the baggage.
And Jennifer Jones wrote to us saying that while she sympathised with overweight passengers, she felt we didn't address the experience of slimmer people sitting in neighbouring seats.
I do think it is awful to weigh and measure people in full public view, but what your feature didn't focus on are the rights of the passenger sitting next to the obese one. As much as I feel sorry for that person and the discomfort that they must endure, I have bought my seat and do not expect someone else to occupy half of it.
Unique seating needs there, keeping our email inbox full. And do keep them coming, I promise you we read every one. Right, let's have a look at the travel headlines from across the globe this week.
Thousands of holidaymakers have been left stranded in the Mexican resort city of Acapulco after a tropical storm cut off access roads and left the airport flooded. At least 97 people have died as a result so far. Meanwhile, mudslides caused by torrential flooding have also brought unwanted visitors, with crocodiles spotted roaming the streets. A number of Western countries have issued travel alerts for Bali. It follows claims extremists may be planning attacks on local hotels connected to the Miss World beauty pageant being held there later this month. The island resort's a popular destination, particularly for Australians. Security has been increased in response. Here's the moment engineers in Italy were able to right the capsized cruise ship the Costa Concordia 20 months after it ran aground off the island of Giglio. It took the team 19 hours to roll all 114,500 tons of cruise liner onto a salvage platform. And in Miami, an upmarket treat for the world's fashionistas. A hotel group just spent $41.5 million on Gianni Versace's former home. The late designer's roomy Mediterranean-style mansion has 10 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, and an understated pool decked out in 24-karat gold.
Well, that's it for now, but do stay with us because coming up we'll be finding out why this beach resort on the Baltic Sea has been taken over by thousands of Russian pop fans. And Anna Holligan tries to stay in the saddle in the mud and fast-flowing rivers of Iceland's Varmahalith region. Hello and welcome back. Next we're off to the seaside resort of Jurmala in Latvia. It's long been a favourite of Russian-speaking tourists since the time of the Tsars. But now the organisers of a Eurovision-style pop festival want to attract visitors from the western part of Europe. David Stern's been to find out more.
Jurmala has been a playground for both decadent Russian royalty and gray-suited Soviet bigwigs. Located just outside the capital, Riga, it boasts some 33 kilometers of pristine, white quartz beaches.
Jurmala, for the most part, is a quiet, low-key vacation spot. None of the ostentatious consumption of, say, Russia's Sochi.
But there is an exception to this rule. For a short period every summer, this sleepy town is transformed into this. It's called Novaya Volna, or the New Wave Music Festival. And it is the center of the Russian-language pop universe. New Wave is also a talent contest to anoint the next generation of post-Soviet pop stars. The style of music is called estrada. In a strict sense, estrada is just Russian pop. But it's much more than that. Estrada is to pop music what peacocks are to ordinary birds. Flashy, highly emotional, and often over the top. You don't have to be a Russian speaker to love estrada, but it definitely helps.
Lyrics means a lot for Russian music. So it's both, it's lyrics and music and Russian soul.
New Wave regularly draws Russia's movers and shakers and the creme of its oligarch class, though Chelsea football club owner Roman Abramovich missed this year's event. Needless to say, more goes on here than just listening to music.
They say that lots of businessmen come here to make deals. You look like a businessman. You look like you're a deal maker. Have you made any deals so far while you're here?
So far, no, but it is true. While I'm here for the next 2 weeks, I meet with my business partners who live here in Latvia or some others who come from abroad, and we talk business, but it is not necessary that people make deals, but yes, business talks are included in this time.
New Wave is not one festival, but many. There are side concerts, and the after parties stretch well into the night and the next morning. Anyone can attend New Wave. The cheapest tickets cost about $30 for a single concert. But if you want to splurge on a full VIP packet, which includes entrance to all the after parties, it can set you back around $13,000. But for those who love Estrada and all that comes with it, this is a feast of riches.
David Stern reporting from the New Wave Music Festival in Jurmala, Latvia. And finally today we leave behind the world of Europop and head to the vast expanses of northern Iceland. This muddy, rocky terrain is home to a rare breed of horse, which some are hoping will bring tourists to this remote area. But can a novice rider actually handle one? We sent Anna Holligan to find out.
Icelanders call these captivating creatures their Viking treasures.
We can't talk too loudly here because we're trying not to scare the horses. The people here say you won't see scenes like this anywhere in the world. These are wild Icelandic horses. Some of them have never been touched by the human hand before.
It takes patience to win their trust. Iceland is a nation that thrives on myths and fairy tales. Legend has it that the first Icelandic horse was imported by the Vikings around 900 AD.
This is an old Viking harbour. There is a legend saying that here to this harbour came the first horse mentioned by name.
Over the centuries that followed, it developed resilience and a reputation for thriving in conditions too harsh for a standard horse.
This nation would never have survived in Iceland without the horses. This is for sure. They were meaning of everything: transportation, riding, and agriculture purpose.
This winter, it's tapping into the country's natural resources to attract travellers with an adventurous spirit.
People are sitting in front of computers and locked in offices, and they really need the freedom. And the Icelandic horse seems to be really the way out into the free world.
We join a group of tourists who have slightly more equestrian experience than I do.
I came to Iceland to experiencing the Icelandic horse in their true nature.
They're cool in the head. They are trustworthy. You mount and the horse will stay with you. He won't run away.
It's not just the beauty of the beast, but the way it moves. The Icelandic horse has 5 gaits. That's an extra 2 riding styles compared to the normal horse, which has just 3, the walk, the trot and the canter.
A gait in a horse is how they move. It's like you're riding around, it's like sitting on a sofa, and the horse, they do it very naturally, very easy.
Here at this specialist Icelandic horse riding school, these stables are oversubscribed with local and international students. The teachers are making sure the next generation know how to handle this breed's unique attributes.
Icelandic horse is an extremely friendly and gentle animal. It's not very big, it's fluffy, it's very nice, but on the other hand, when you come on it, it's a Ferrari. It can go very fast.
Iceland's popularity is on the ascent, with an average 20% increase in tourists every year. But most stay close to the capital, Reykjavik. The Icelandic horse tour companies up north see these creatures as their most compelling ambassadors, demonstrating with their warm and gentle nature why it's worth venturing off the traditional tourist trails. And though they may not strike you as the typical souvenir, there are an estimated 100,000 Icelandic horses living abroad. That's even more than in their homeland. But only here will you see them unaffected by civilization. Only here, the Icelandic horse runs wild and free.
Anna Holligan facing her fears. And that's everything for this week. Next week, we're in Hungary, looking at the rapid rise of so-called ruin bars in the capital, Budapest, and how they've sparked conflict with the locals.
This is what we are facing every day. We haven't been asked if we want 14 pubs being opened here. These are pubs which are not required to have any license, as far as I know it. They are open until 4 in the morning, and the noise goes on.
And if you can't wait for that, you can always have a look at our website, bbc.com/fasttrack, and we're on social media too. So why not take a look at our Facebook, Twitter and Pinterest pages. But until next time, from me, Fiona Foster, and the rest of the Fast Track team, thanks for watching and enjoy your travels. Bye-bye.